Hey, welcome back to Engineer's Workshop. By the time this airs, 1 year, Putin's war on Ukraine. When's it going to end? So, started to dig into the couple of saws that I bought last week. Turned out to be a 16-inch Rockwell radial arm saw and a 10-inch Rockwell contractor saw. It's an all cast iron tabletop, small enclosed base with a rolling stand underneath it. And I was super excited about both of these saws. I mean, I got them super cheap. 75 bucks for the radial arm saw, 60 bucks for the contractor saw. Thought I'm going to have these things up and running for virtually no money out of pocket. But spoiler alert, I busted something, and it's important on the radial arm saw. So let me show you what I was doing, and I'll come back and explain later. I have no idea where I got it, but I have a Rockwell. It's a 3-horse, 3,400 RPM motor that I can use for the table saw. Which runs pretty smooth in both directions. I have a couple of 14-inch blades, which still have, they came back from the sharpener, so they still got the rubber goop on them here. And they're close enough to 16-inch to, let this saw cut near its rated diameter. But for now, I just want to tighten this up and put some power to it and test, make sure that it is going to spin before I invest too much time in it. I do have to relocate this to here because there is nothing to prevent my motor from turning. This particular hole had a mud dauber nest in it. There's some kind of insect that packs little holes full of gunk. Don't know why that is so tight. Set screw there. There's the magic number there. Thankfully, they were smart enough to put a relief in the center of that. That's pretty chewed up. Yeah, I can't even pull on it. Let me show you what it looks like inside there. So there's a slot that pin is supposed to index in and lock the rotation. So we're going to have to machine the edges of this, if I can get it to focus. Get that to mate up better. I'm temporarily jumping in to the motor feed with my VFD. Cable's pretty cheesy. I'll end up replacing that before we do too much with it, but let's try 30 hertz at first. Couldn't ask for a quieter motor. All right, let's run it all the way up to 60 hertz. Pretty smooth. I tell you, that's the best $75 I've ever spent. And yes, that is what I paid for this saw. I've seen a couple on eBay for $1,200. 16-inch, can't beat it. Now, there's a locking bolt here that has sheared off. I'm going to need to center drill this and tap it, or try to put an easy out into it, get this thing to turn, and then that is what is preventing the arm from pivoting right now. And then the other big ticket item that needs to be repaired is the bevel lock on the motor. Now, this casting was either repaired once or it flared out and it was a part of the clamp. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this entire yoke off, and then I'm going to probably cut this in a vertical plane perpendicular to this surface, and then I'm going to fit a square block of aluminum. This is about 1 inch thick here, and I'm going to bolt into the original aluminum, and then I'll pick up on the bore of this and I will machine the edge of that block off. Also make sure I have, you know, an 1/8 inch shim or so in between here, and then when this piece locks up, it will be putting those screws mostly in tension. So I think that'll be a pretty decent repair for that clamp right there. Let's take the scale off and see what's behind this, because this thing's got a pivot on both sides. One of these has to come off, or both of them, in order for the motor to come out of the yoke. Okay, it looks like the motor has a cast iron hub, and that is bolted in at least 3 places, unless that, you know, I don't know if that maybe goes through it. Let's see what's on the other side. Looks like it might have another piece, which this is really mashed over. You know what, I think when they were shoving this back, this was hitting the arm on the back side, and it mushroomed this bore in. Huh, interesting, just the bolt pivots in there. I wonder if that's I wonder exactly how that works. It's a pretty good sized Allen screws. Obviously on this side, the entire trunnion pivots. But this trunnion has to come off. That trunnion has to come off for the motor to drop down. Improper hammer for this. Saw is still on the pallet jack and it's rolling. Let her drill L for the tap. And of course I came over here without the tap. Got the tap wrench. Somehow managed to set the tap down in between looking for the drill bits. I love these spiral taps. So I've taken my broken off retaining bolt, center drilled it, and tapped it 5/16 24. It was pretty soft, tapped pretty easily. And then I took this half spike, half screw object, it's a railroad track item, and I turned the best I could a mating conical taper in here. It's going to bear on the OD of this. I want the, once this is cut off, I'm going to take this over to the Marvel draw cut saw, cut this off, bolt this in, and tighten the bejesus out of it with this fine thread grade 8 bolt. And hopefully that will mash these together tight enough that I can then take just a pipe wrench or whatever, or crescent wrench, and grab the flats. Should be able to grab the flats with a crescent wrench and turn this stud out. We're a bit crowded in here, but let me see if I can give you a little demo of the Marvel saw. Okay, that's good enough to give a first try at loosening that clamping stud. Try to get this oriented the right way. I think I was right the first time. All right, that's what I would call pretty tight. But not tight enough. Still squirming on the face of the stud. I'm going to have to look up the torque, acceptable torque for a 5/16 fine thread fastener. It's just squirming on the face of the stud and loosening the nut. I can see my contact patch is inboard of where I'd like it to be. The farther out I can get this contacting, the more torque it will transmit for a given clamp load. So I'm going to go in and relieve this where I see it, see if I can get that to transfer outward a little bit.
sleep from my eyes. Throw on a shirt and some jeans and my boots, and then it's time to make that morning drive. Work all day till I'm totally beat. Get back home and fall right to sleep. Alarm goes off in the morning and the cycle's complete. Work, sleep, repeat. Yeah, work, sleep, that's all I ever do anymore. Work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep. Somewhere up the line I forgot what I was working for. Yeah, there goes life, looks like it ain't slowing down for me. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat. Seems like yesterday I was 17, running bootlegs and draws and screens. Now I'm running up debt and I'm scrambling to make ends meet. So work, sleep, repeat. Yeah, work, sleep, that's all I ever do anymore. Work, sleep, work, sleep. Somewhere up the line I forgot what I was working for. Yeah, there goes life, looks like it ain't slowing down for me. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat. Sometimes at work I just sit around and fantasize about how I can save myself from dying in this working life. And that alarm goes off again at 4:45. Roll out in bed, rub the sleep from my eyes. Throw on a shirt and some jeans and my boots, and then it's time to make that morning drive. Yeah, work, sleep, that's all I ever do anymore. Work, sleep. Somewhere up the line I forgot what I was working for. And there goes life, looks like it ain't slowing down for me. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat. All I ever do is work, sleep, repeat.
Well, with all the wrenching, I broke my stud. So now that the arm is off, you can see the fending piece here. We've got a stud that comes in against this inner wing, and then that's about a 5/8 fine thread stud going through, tightening into that wing. And we've got our 3 miter stops there. So this piece is being clamped. Hopefully I can get a wrench on that now that it's upright and get that thing to turn. Boy, it's no wonder. Look at how it's a much bigger stud than I thought. Combination of heat beating and trying again and again, we'll get it. Worst case, I'll just put this arm up and I'll mill that boss all the way off. I wanted to show you this because sometimes miracles do happen. Just having this upside down and a lot of leverage on it has allowed me to break it free, I think. Need to put a Sharpie mark on it. Make sure I'm turning it. There's almost no rotation that I can get on it. I broke the casting. Unbelievable. That's because it's a left-hand thread. Son of a bitch. Why in God's name would they make this a left-hand thread? Son of a... That's going to be one serious weld job to get that to clean up. Son of a... Bad thing is I can't even get it to turn in the other direction. Not until I get my stud out. I'll have to see if my big channel locks can get on that. I don't think they're going to be able to. Split that right on down to the bottom. Once the stud is out, if that closes up, but all I can do is have my son grind that out as best he can and fill it with braze. Well, the stud's out, and that crack goes pretty much right down to the bottom. There's still something holding it on. And that stud, that's like a 5/8 fine thread, left-hand thread stud. Absolutely no reason in the world for this thing to be left-hand thread. So I was tightening it. I busted my casting. I think if I leave this in here and take it to somebody, they can V it out almost all the way and fill that up with braze or a weldable, weldable filler rod and get a repair made on that. So my $75 saw has turned into probably a $375 saw. I don't know, we'll see. We'll get it in, get it repaired. And you'll notice that there's the top and bottom is machined and then the center is relieved. That crack goes down and then comes over and almost meets up, probably does meet up with the factory split. So I don't think that they're going to be able to get at the bottom of that crack from inside this casting. They can get down but so far. But then to weld that up, they're probably going to have to grind this out over here and then weld that in, and I'm going to have to end up remachining this. Now the nice thing is here and here, this is a surface. Let me flip this over. I could mount this on the K&T on the two flat surfaces, indicate on these bores, and then rebore that so I can clean up whatever weld repair they do. There's a close-up of that crack. So I'm thinking if they keep everything in position, maybe keep the little fitted piece in here. Let me show you how that goes. That just drops right on in. So that'll keep everything pretty much in this original position, and then they can do their, carving out with the carbide burr and weld that. Hopefully then that'll come out again, and hopefully not have too much distortion on that. So that's where we're at, running the top casting of the radial arm saw over to a place that does some cast iron repair. Going to get that welded with nickel rod. Hopefully, I don't know if they're going to go and do the inside, but if they do, I can remachine and clean up that bore so that hopefully this thing can clamp itself up again and be almost as good as new. I don't think I need to go super crazy on that clamping nut, that stud, to keep the pivot from moving. It's a pretty snug fit, and there shouldn't be really much vibration on this saw running. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully they'll do a good repair that I don't have a lot of follow-up work for, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. But the $75 is out the window, and we're somewhere north of that as of right now. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate all the new subscriptions in the last few days, mostly because of Keith Rucker's purchase of a 2D milling machine, a Kearney and Trecker rotary head mill like mine. Keith actually emailed me. We've been emailing back and forth on a number of things, trying to see if I can use this part or that part, trying to help him out with some things. And I'm going to send him something that he doesn't have for it. It doesn't have specifically, and he's going to be appreciative of that. So we'll just let that show up on his channel, and you guys can see that over there. So thanks again. Keep praying for our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, and for everyone that has experienced other natural disasters in Turkey and Syria. I mean, my gosh. So take care, and as always, until next time, stay safe.